Have you ever been shot? Most of the stories I've read before about being shot in the extremities all sound pretty consistent. My ears rang. I felt a rush of hot air against my arm/leg. And it started bleeding for some reason. Kinda makes me less scared of getting shot, I guess. Well, a person should be afraid of being shot. It's not pleasant. But it all happened so quick you don't have time to process a whole lot. I heard the bangs, but was so happy I could open my eyes after hearing and feeling the shots. It was unbelievable to lay there in the dirt thinking, wow, I just got shot. Knew a guy who was in the army and got shot a couple times. I worked retail with him for a few years. Right before I left we had a line of difficult customers, and when the store was empty he turned to me and said, can I got back to being shot at again? I wasn't shot, but bullet ricocheted right on my carotid artery. Luckily it was about 1mm too shallow to hit my artery. Still hurt like a bitch and I have a cool scar on my neck. Was shot at by an RPG. Ducker skimmed the top of our Humvee and our turret gunner felt the heat of the round going by on the back of his neck. 0 tenths. Do not recommend. Thank you for your service, sir. May your enemies fall at your feet and their women covet your sheets. I've been grazed by a bullet from a .38 revolver or smaller when I was 18. Caught some guys breaking into a car and yelled at them from a decent distance, about 100 feet or so in the dark. I got lucky, didn't even know I was hit until a neighbor pointed out I was bleeding. I've got a small scar, but wasn't enough to warrant any medical care nor the police to be interested in reporting it as a gunshot. Hell of an adrenaline rush, and made me a addict to chasing that rush since. It's a cool story that gets me a little street cred when I talk about it for whatever it's worth. I used to work in a state prison, and when doing cell search I discovered 3 9mm FMJ in his property. The inmate went on to show me where he was shot and how his body had rejected them while incarcerated, so he kept them as a trophy. Obviously, they were confiscated. But it was the weirdest confiscation slip I ever had to write. Not an actual gun, but when I was 14 I was shot in the chest by an air rifle. Compressed enough that the BB got lodged in my muscle. Removal was turned down in fear of ruining muscle tissue. 17 years later it's still in there. I'm a nurse and the thing that surprised me about gunshot victims is how many survive. Like in movies, when a person gets shot 7 times, they dead. Unless it's a zombie movie. But in real life, bullets do crazy things. Like enter the skin and travel alongside the skull and exit, rather than blowing up brain. Or entering the abdomen, but delicately avoiding the intestines, and leaving this person's life without so much as a love letter. No, I haven't, but when I was about 8 or 9 there was a junkyard in my town, which I was having fun messing around in. It was nearby my house. I was just kind of walking around picking up and looking at all the cool stuff in the rubble. And I vaguely remember this, but I think I went up on top of a stack of fridges that were placed sideways on the ground. I don't remember how I got up them though. Anyway, I was on top of the fridges and looking around when I tried to walk to the edge and I rolled my ankle off the side and fell. When I landed I wasn't really badly hurt, just a little dazed, so I got up. Only I couldn't get up because my leg was stuck on something. So I turned around and there was a rusty old piece of rubber sticking through my leg. Surprisingly I wasn't that fazed by it. I just kind of lifted my leg off the bar and limped back to my house to show my parents. After that I don't remember much, but they got me to the hospital and I know the doctor said it went between my tibia and fibula. And when I tried to move it twisted and fractured my fibula. I also know he told me it didn't really hurt that much because my body was in extreme shock. But after all that I'm still here and my leg is perfectly fine. So I guess I didn't really feel much of anything. It was just kinda weird. The land of the free. So free your kids get shot 7 times at a party. Seriously America. Sort yourself out, this is embarrassing. What was truly embarrassing and hurtful was the cops' response. Sorry son. You got shot on the wrong side of town. No one is going to investigate this further, especially since you don't have any witnesses. Good luck kid. Ambulance is here. That shit ducked me up for years, thinking I wasn't even worth the time to find my attempted killer. My friend got shot in the stomach with a .45 when confronting someone. Blew his stomach apart but he survived. Had two acquaintances get shot about 6 months before that, but they didn't make it. What happened to the shooter in your case? I begged someone to shoot me in the leg, and they did. I'm a collector of experiences, the type of manchild that truly would fight Mike Tyson at his peak. For free, knowing I ain't gonna win, and might even die in the process, because there's no other experience like it in the world. Which is to say I'm stupid. So I'm on the wrong side of town about 10 years ago, smoking and drinking at a Tweaker BBQ in the Latino neighborhood. They all regularly kick it in this backyard. And like I said, I was cross-faded. Can't even remember the kid's name, but he's about 16. Got his GF and his best friend with him. He pulls out what he called a gun, a ducking .25 that looked like he put 50 cents in the gumball machine and won the grand prize. I somehow managed to see my way around basic logic and talk crazy shit to this kid, whom is obviously trying to show off and act hard. I go full retard. The idea of a relatively safe gunshot wound is a good experience, I'm thinking. I roll up my pant leg and beg this dude to shoot me in the shin. I insult the hell out of him, embarrass him, but he's not budging. Finally, we're at the back off the lot alone, pant leg still up, and me now begging him to do it. I still remember kid said I ain't gonna shoot you. Man. He and his people turned to leave, and invisibly disappointed. No way was I getting a better chance than this. I drop my pant leg. Kid whirls on me and blasts me in the shin. The bullet goes through my pant leg. Craters about a quarter inch deep, then rolls out of my pants onto the ground. You see, I hadn't rolled up my pant leg as some macho or gangster shit. I was wearing my favorite pair of Levi Silver Tab jeans. I'm a Silver Tab junkie, and these had been my most comfortable ever. Old Faithful, in the biggest bro move I ever saw, his best friend snatches up the bullet and him, his GF, and best friend broke out. It was different. I wasn't bleeding. You could see a little bone where the skin had peeled off at impact, but not much pain. At that caliber I'm guessing it's something you can't take the edge out with more weed. So I did that. Had a beer. Smoked. Ate. And a few hours after went home. Scars almost faded away now, but the memory of those jeans still haunts me. Not me, but while hunting pheasant in South Dakota, my great uncle, 75, tripped in a field onto a pile of mud. The mud got stuck in the barrel of the gun, and he thought that he can just shoot the mud out of the gun. Little did he know, the shot bounced back and exploded the barrel and shot his face. Luckily it grazed the side of his face and didn't penetrate. He was a bloody mess though, and freaked us all out. Even the oldest of hunters still make elementary mistakes. Twice technically, but I never got injured. Iraq in 2003. Felt a tug on my pants. Turned and saw a guy shooting at us from a window. Returned fire and dropped him. A few hours later, someone asked about our position, and I found the GPS in my pocket was scrap as well as the cargo pocket itself. The bullet went right it. Second time was a few days later. Patrolling the streets looking for missing friendly remains. I suddenly get knocked on my ass amid a shower of sparks. I had taped my bayonet to the chest of my armor because I saw some special forces guys do it and I wanted to be like them. The round hit the handle of the bayonet, shattered it and pinged off the tang underneath. I got some small fragments in my face and neck but nothing to write home about. Don't know what happened to the shooter, but he could have been one of several enemy killer we got that day. I got shot in the neck with a .22 LR by my brother. It didn't really hurt. I was just pissed that I was shot. I almost died too. Like less than a millimeters away from my jugular. Had it in my for 2 weeks until the doctor could remove it. Now I have a neat scar on the right side of my neck. It just wasn't nice. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.